Hello, my name is Matt. Welcome to Unbearable 73. So it's time for me to watch Outer Range. I know it's been over a month. Between real life stuff, other stuff I wanted to watch first. And I tend to be a mood watcher. Like, I can have something, I know I want to watch it, but until the mood hits me to watch it, I just don't do it. It's just weird like that. So, this is the first, I'm doing an episode by episode review. As I did with Yakimov 245, if I'm reviewing an episode, it'll be light spoilers for that episode. And if it's a succeeding episode, I will do heavy spoilers, complete spoilers for the previous episode as a follow up in the beginning, so I can give you so we can discuss the spoiler stuff in the previous episode. Okay. So only in this first episode will I be going over the background details for the show, and in the final, I'll do a ninth. There's 8 episodes of Outer Range, so I will have a ninth summary full spoiler review with some thoughts that I can talk about now that I've assessed as a whole. Also, I'm only going to go into the production elements in the first episode and only make comments if something changes, like something to note or whatever, Because the way they tend to film these things now is like they'll film it all in one big gulp. Like, over the course of a couple weeks, they'll do all the footage and then do special effects afterwards and then break it up. So let's do the background first. Outer Range is what people are calling a neo-western, as if just calling it a western is wrong and something would cross. Like why do we have to have neo-westerns? Anyway, I think it's just a marketing nonsense. But it does cross over with some sort of paranormal element, which I can talk about as a spoilery thing, but I'm just calling it paranormal element to avoid spoilers. Plus, it's not apparent as to what the nature of the paranormal element is yet, even though it seems like it's one thing. We'd have to see. So just for reference purposes, however, in the opening, Kronos gets name dropped. Kronos in Greek mythology was the king of the Titans and the god of time. For purposes of how the Greek conceived of time, time was a relentless force that eroded, eradicated, destroyed everything due to inevitable passage. Okay, so that's the type of concept that Kronos was the god of time of. He was a destructive god in terms of his force, but he was an inevitable part of nature. He was the son of the primordial gods Uranos, for which the planet Uranus is named in the Romanization, and Gaia, who might be more familiar to as Mother Earth. Okay, he became the ruler of the gods after he deposed his father Uranos, involving castration and whatnot. For some reason, the myths. This is about the Greek mythology itself. It's just about a reference to Kronos, so you have an idea what they're talking about. Eventually, there was a prophecy that he would be similarly deposed to one of his children, so he sort of ate them all, even though he didn't digest them. His wife was the Titaness Rhea, or the Titan Rhea, saved the youngest Zeus by hiding him away. When Zeus grew up, he forced Kronos to disgorge his siblings, and that began a decade-long war between the gods and the Titans. After the gods won, Zeus imprisoned the Titans for a time in Tartarus, and this depends on which story you choose, eventually they reconciled, Zeus released the Titans, and awarded them kingdoms to rule over as they had submitted to his authority as the king of the gods. So now on to the production review of episode 1. The visuals, there's nothing like greatly awesome here. There were a couple of individual points, which I'll mention at some point or other. But it was high quality filming, but nothing exceptional. The direction, I thought the pacing was a little too slow in this episode, which comes in on the next part where they set a lot of, which is the writing, they set a lot of subplots in motion, and I mean a lot. And I think that's part of why the pacing was so slow for the first chunk of the episode, for most of the episode, I should say. They're going to have to juggle quite a bit for this season if they want all these subplots to be viable and not seem like you ignored stuff or just they were pulling a Lost or X-Files and never really answering anything. The acting, good job all around. No one really had any special acting moment. Josh Brolin came close a couple of times, but again, nothing spectacular yet, Special effects, and touch on light spoilers. There was some very nice Brownian motion CGI in the Void Pit. Basically, you'll see there's this roughly, I want to say it's like 7 to 8 meter pit that goes to nowhere. And when you look at it, it's full of swirling dust, and that motion is called Brownian motion. Okay, and there was also a cool shot of a lightning bolt in the last 10 minutes or so. Really, it was fast, but I thought it was like, wow, that's a nice shot. Sound and audio, nothing really stood out as far as the music, but the sound effects were good and well timed. So let's talk about the plot. And again, I'm doing the light spoiler version here, and at the beginning of my episode 2 review, I'll follow up with some heavy spoiler comments. The first episode, as I mentioned, sets off a lot of subplots, along with the main plot that there is a large circular void that appears in the western range of the Abbotland. That, in fact, the title of the episode, The Void. The writers are going to have to be on top of their game to juggle all of these plots, and of course, as I mentioned, which shows like the X-Files and Lost, having a habit of never resolving plots, but just keep stringing you along with too many plot holes. You always have to be aware that for the sort of trap effect, that is that what they're doing with this show? They're just never going to answer anything, and at some point, audience will start to check out if they feel they're not getting answers. Now, obviously, very early in one season, I'm not even more than 2 episodes in. I'm an episode ahead of the review, so to speak, as I taped them. But so we'll have to see. The subplots are clustered a bit. For example, the Tillerson family is set up as rivals and antagonists, and as 3 of the 4 shows established subplots involve them. I did feel the episode dragged a bit in establishing them all, as I said, but when the pace picked up in the last quarter of an hour or so, I forgot about that. So immediately that they did well with the episode. When the energy picked up, I was like, okay, I'm in it. The slow pacing just felt like a build up instead of being annoying. I got the impression, by the way, that the shows are channeling Yellowstone for this. Almost trying to do like Yellowstone with some paranormal events thrown in. And then final thoughts here. It was a good first episode. It made me want to watch the next one, which is the number one sign of being a good first episode. I rate it at 8 out of 10. It does start out slow and build. There's a lot of stuff they're establishing, and sometimes I think a better technique is to delay the establishing stuff over the first couple of episodes, but they chose this route, and they at least for the episode they pulled it off. So at the end of the episode, in that last couple of acts, when the pace picks up, in my view, you'll accept the slow pacing as part of being a build-up. Okay. Comment down below if you have any questions for me about this video or this episode. Share your thoughts. Share this video if you enjoyed it. Like if you like. Dislike if you dislike. Subscribe if you want to hear more from me. My name is Matt. This has been Unbearable 73. Have a nice day, and I am out of here.